All right, guys, so I've already started to tear down. Enough of my ranting from the previous video, but I will explain that. You see, I broke one off right here and I had to drill it. So I've already drilled it. There's a little piece left of the other screw, but that hole in there will be sufficient to screw in a new one, and I drilled it to the same size as all the other ones. You can see here, these are the correct size screws, and they were putting a mishmash of different types of screw sizes, especially these, and they were hard to get out. They were always trying to strip. I was having to apply a lot of pressure. Some of them I was worried to break, but I got most. I can't get this coin chute out because this is the right screw and this one comes out, but this one, they went too big and now it's stuck in there and it's fully stripped. So, fortunately, there's some stuff I can't take off even though I want to, so I'm just gonna have to live with it. Anything that's bolted onto the the fiber tub, I think these screws just get stuck in them over time. This is why this wasn't removed. I tried to remove this and I was worried I was gonna break it. So I decided to leave it because if I break them, then it's gonna be a world of pain to put it back together, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So I just have to deal with it and just get over the fact that I won't be able to take these metal brackets out. It just is what it is. This composite material, when you screw into it, if you don't drill the hole out to the right specifications, or just over time, they just seize up in there, and it's just impossible to get them out. What I would have recommended they do is they should have put in a type of sleeve, a metal sleeve in there, and then screw in like a type of screw like this, and that would have prevented a lot of these headaches that I'm seeing. Because these M screws are perfect, but you can't get what you always want. Sometimes, you know, they're churning out these cabinets really fast, so they just use standard you know, type of screws there that aren't supported by any metal type of support, but whatever. Regardless, I've removed almost everything. I'm gonna get the power supply out, clean that out too, go over it, see if there's anything I got to do with that. And yeah, I need to see if this will work on it. This will remove any type of oil-based paint off of that. If it is not oil-based, then I'll have to get a different type of water-based strip remover to remove that stuff. Some of that stuff isn't really painted or has much overspray on it, but I'll still throw this on there just to make sure there's a little bit overspray, get it all out. You can see that a lot of the finish on the metals is oxidized out. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to paint all of this black, clean up all the parts, and then just paint them black, and then call it a day for that. I think with black, it'll look good. It'll make a nice contrast with the white in here, and it'll just clean up everything much better. I try to remove the coin box in here. It is screwed here on the sides, you can see there, but they're starting to strip, and it's probably bolted to this fiberglass tub, and they're just stuck and never coming out. And you can see they oversprayed the coin counter, so I'm gonna have to remove that and see if I can figure out how much this Astro 2 was used back in the day to see what the actual coin count of it was. Because right now it's hidden. A bunch of overspray over here. I removed a lot of the mechanisms that are here, just because like the little window here, metal window for when you get your coins out, was all oversprayed. So I wanted to be actual shiny metal, so I'm going to polish that out. Just, you know, little things like that. You can see they just went to town. I was trying to get this tub out, all of it out from here, but because I wanted to get rid of all this overspray on it and then clean it and paint it black and make it look really, really nice. But you know, you can only do so much, and I do not want to risk damaging these screws and not be able to screw back the tub, and then you'll be in a world of pain as far as just for slight what is the right word, slight visual compensation to make it look nice, right? All right, so it is a petroleum based paint that they use on the cabinet. You can see that if I just see, it just comes right off. I love this citrus strip stuff. It just apply it, let it sit for like an hour, and then the stuff just comes off like it was paper, like some kind of receipts. Stuff is amazing. I really love it. So I'll be able to, so here's the coin mechanism here, the little flap. It had a bunch of white overspray. Now it reveals the nice chrome on the inside, so I'll just polish that up, make it look real nice. This is the this is where the control panel grabs. This is where the wood that sticks in there. These are the speakers. There you go. You just shake it a little bit and it comes right off. These are the brackets that grab onto the front panel. So I'm gonna get ready to clean this off, and then it'll be good to spray paint black and make it look a little better. Sand it down. I've been busy shining up the coin doors, clean up all the power supply stuff. So it's been a while, but we'll get there. Better, but slowly but carefully. Slowly paint it layer by layer so it can look nice and neat. So I've cleaned up the power supply, painted it, cleaned it all up. But I don't know what the heck they were thinking. So they spliced these wires and they cut them. So at some point there must have been something spliced in between here. But they went with thinner gauge wire. And these are like the 120 volts. This is where the power from the outlet comes in. Why would you do that? You see? It went much thinner gauge wire, and this stuff is, you can see, it's thicker. So I'm going to remove that and fix it and make it be how it should be. No idea why they did that. Alright, bunch of overspray, but cleaned it out as best as I could. So cleaned it out, covered up. Try to clean the buttons, but the overspray on the buttons is very difficult to remove. So I did my best I could cleaning those up. But I'd say the power supply now looks in much better shape, and I fixed some wiring issues where they were running thinner wire and splicing stuff. No idea why they did that, but this is going to be much better now. Well, I'm down to my last few parts here. That's the back panel there for the powers that goes to the power outlet and stuff, and then this is the coin chute. So that's the last things I got to paint, but it's been a lot of work to, here's all the mess that I've made here. It's been a lot of work, but it'll turn out much better now. Finally got the sucker out. Friggin' 198,779. What a massive coin count. But you can do this to revert it. So if you push it, you can push it back to reset it, and it'll drop it down. So that's pretty cool. I don't know, I kind of want to, I'll move it back, but it'd be pretty cool if I can get a new one to put in. But I don't know, I just want to leave it, I guess, as is, even though if I just moved it back 10, leave it there to just show that this thing has been played a lot. All right, guys, done most of the cosmetic stuff. I'm still waiting on the CRT, but I've wired everything in properly. Everything's good to go. So as you guys can see, I've painted the brackets, cleaned everything out here. So once the speakers are ready, good to go, I'll just put them in there. We'll be good and golden. You can see here, if I remove this panel, that it's nice and neat there. So as you guys can see, this is what a little bit extra work goes. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to remove those brackets for the TV sits on, and that's just because they can't come out. Had to put that down there. But yeah, these things can't come out, and there's no way to remove them safely. I tried to remove one screw, this one. I got it to do a half turn, and then it got stuck. And even though I'd heat it up, it just... I don't want to heat it up too much because this is, this is a fiber, it's a type of... It's not... It can't handle heat. It'll start to warp, And so I wasn't able to remove these brackets and paint them the color that I wanted or whatever. But regardless, everything else has been taken off the cabinet. There was nothing else in here. So I've dialed in all the wiring better here. So all the wiring is properly set up in a much better arrangement here. So everything looks nice and neat. I've grounded everything. I've cleaned up most of the parts, removed any of the old paint, painted them, removed a lot of the rust off of these. Here's the rust removed now. Nice and clean on the coin door. Coin mech works just fine. I've gone ahead and cleaned out the coin box itself. The power supply is good to go. Replaced the capacitors on that thing. A lot of big capacitors on it. Honestly, it's very easy to replace them because they're mostly all the same size. So it works out really well. And then what I ended up doing is I ended up removing the plastic cover because that plastic cover was terrible. And it revealed the coin amount, which I think is 198,000, and it was 779. I dialed it back because you can actually dial it back if you really wanted to with your fingers, and then it'll go back. There's my extra stuff in here. And then if you want to tie this bucket down, you can lock it down with a lock here to prevent further. Now I've revealed the chrome hiding in there, that stainless steel that was hidden away with overspray. So that looks really good now. So there you go. Like, this is just a little bit extra work. Not that much extra work went into making this work. Like, you didn't need too much more to make it really look like a clean install. I went ahead and cleaned up everything over there. I cleaned the panel, cleaned a bunch of the parts. A lot of that overspray is just very difficult to get off the plastics, unfortunately. You can see here, all that's been cleaned up really nice and neat. I put a bunch of brand new screws everywhere. Everything has new screws in it. I drilled out larger holes for a lot of these, and I put thicker screws all over this thing. So now everything is locked in nice and neat how it should be. Fixed any of the wiring issues. You see here, I went with heat shrink tubing. So much nicer. Same here, heat shrink tubing. Honestly, for as far as the ground is concerned, I wasn't too worried about it. Now that I looked at this entire wiring, there's ground wires that come on the harness that go straight to that bracket over there. So I'm not too worried. So it's not that big of a deal, honestly, now that I've looked at all the wiring. But honestly, it's a very simple design for wiring. Super simple. It's not that much. But honestly, I think all the cabs are like that, I think. Unless you're talking about some of the older stuff with a bunch of PCBs or whatever. But it's a very easy design. And you can see here, I've got my CPS2 Alpha 3 there. And then the power supply looks much cleaner now. Cleaned it up really nice and neat. Now this thing has rust on it. I could clean that out, but that's probably the only thing that I will have to do is clean this out later on down the road. Is clean up this door panel, but everything else is in really good shape now. Like I said, this is just a little bit extra work. It only took me a few afternoons of my day to get this done. The longest time was just removing the paint. Like sometimes using that paint stripper, for whatever reason, it had like 2 coats of paint. It had like the new coat, and it had like an older coat of like yellower paint on some of these stuff, and that stuff was just hard to get off. But we got it all off, and now it's cleaned out really, really nice. And then just removing the rust in general, that's like super important, just because you don't want that rust to eat away some of these parts that you can't ever replace. And there you go, man. Honestly, these cabinets are really modular. They're not that difficult to take completely apart. You can see here, this whole thing just came out. And then the TV just drops in, and there's a connector here. I found a TV that would fit here, but it was like all the way in Florida. And the guy wasn't going to ship, so I was like, dang it. So I still got to wait for my TV to get getting fixed finally. But once that gets fixed, then it's going to be an awesome, awesome cab where everything's been cleaned up, everything's been touched up. I'm not going to have to worry too much about much of anything on this thing for a good while. At least, I hope. Just the monitor, of course. But just common, you know. But hope you guys enjoy the video. And as always, drop a like.